And the big one here that we're moving on to, you mentioned it before, but chronic wasting disease. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because we're by no means experts and we're not biologists. That's what they're there to do, use the science to do it. But I think it could possibly have, of all the things we're going to talk about, it has a chance to have the biggest impact on deer numbers 10 years from now.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's the one. It's kind of quieted down just a little bit, I think, but it's still there. It's still an issue, like you said. I think it is the biggest. I guess besides habitat loss, those two are kind of at the top. But like as far as just a deer biology thing, it's CWD, I think, and what it could do.
It's just scary, the possibilities of what
it could do.
What it could do. I don't know if it's going to. I don't know if it's the more you look for it, the more you find it, and it's been around, or if it's actually on the rise. And if it is, and then like we talked about before, whitetails rule. So if whitetails, we don't have the money coming in, you don't have the hunters, you don't have the deer to be able to hunt because of chronic wasting disease.
What does that change for everything?
What does that do to the whole game and parks, conservation system? It could be huge. It's something we don't really want to think about, but it's going to be interesting to see where we're at in 10 years. There's states putting in no baiting, and I can see that being, a big widespread thing that happens anymore. There's states, certain chronic wasting disease areas where they got special rules, no transporting, carcasses or anything like that.
Who knows with cutting down the population of deer? If they feel like it's spreading and the way to stop it is to have less deer so they're not as close together, then that means more permits, which is good for a little bit, but then you have really low populations again. So then what, like you said, that leads back to what's it do for hunting when you're culling, in this sense, a lot of deer.
Yeah, I know there's some, I think it's Pennsylvania, maybe Missouri, they have the conservation zones, and that's where they're increasing doe harvest to reduce numbers to hopefully spread the deer out to stop the spread, and they're still researching whether that works or not.
Is that a short-term solution to a long-term problem? Like, can we do that, but if it's still going to exist, then we have to keep those numbers super low.
And then what happens, like we mentioned before, all full circle, we get low deer numbers. It's going to be harder to recruit new hunters because they're not seeing the deer when they go out. And now all of us are mad because there's the same amount of people, way less deer, way less bucks. Now everything's a big uproar. Now we want more deer, but the farmers are happy because there's less deer. But then if we get more deer, it's chronic wasting disease is spreading. So it's a whole huge deal. Like I mentioned, I think it has the most potential to completely change the whole deer hunting landscape.